Before we begin your Freebae episode, a big thanks to Inspect All Pest Services in the Metro Atlanta and surrounding areas. High-quality termite, pest, and wildlife control, but they also do your insulation, pressure washing, gutter maintenance. Probably even tie your shoes if you ask them. InspectAllServices.com. Thank you so much. The Mad Dog Manny Arora, who should be joining us this episode, based out of Georgia but can litigate all across the United States. The best at what he does, and that's criminal defense. If you're a criminal, get a hold of him. AuroraLawFirm.com. Criminal defense, white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, and more. Dr. David Markwell with Ridgeline Counseling. 10 therapists in-house there in the state of Georgia. Beautiful state of Georgia. If you want to go in person, one across from Sprayberry High School in Sandy Plains in East Cobb, Marietta near the square, and McKaysville outside of Blue Ridge. But he also offers virtual sessions. So if you're in another state, Florida, California, North Carolina, Alabama, wherever, shoot him an email, ridgelinecounseling@gmail.com, and set up that appointment. Big thanks to Capriotti's Sandwich Shop in Folsom, California. They're located all over the United States, but Folsom in particular, because my buddy Scott owns that one. Whole roast turkeys, quality meats and cheeses, Wagyu, fresh rolls, and produce. That's why we keep coming back, and they keep getting awards. Capriottis.com, thank you. And then Dan Smith, Managing Director of Signature Wealth Partners with Raymond James, working with us for our wealth management needs by giving us access to institutional solutions instead of retail. In other words, they are fiduciary. They do not charge commissions, which is nice. They do better when we do better. YourSignatureWealth.com, or shoot them an email directly, Dan@YourSignatureWealth.com. If you want to sponsor the program, reach out to me via TheBaileyShow.com. Let's begin.
What do we want to talk about?
To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Welcome to the Bailey Show podcast, a guy show women love to listen to.
Intellectually immature nonsense.
That's
BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
Okay, man, let's do it.
All right, there it is. It is a milestone, episode 200 of the BS. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. Right there, that is the iron-fisted one himself, Mr. Chuck Lunsford. Hello, Chuck.
What's up, dude? Has there always been music in the commercial part of the intro?
The bed you talking about?
Like when you're doing like the reads, you know, and you're advertising for all of our wonderful sponsors. Has there always been music in that?
Yeah, you can hear it now, huh?
It's like a whole new world, baby. It sounds so good. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm glad Jason added it. And then I'm like, you know what? I think it's something he did. He added music to my headphones.
So you guys, I don't think have ever complained about it or brought it up.
I just thought it was like you were lame and boring.
So I didn't think anything of it, but the reason I fixed it, or I was able to fix it, and I'll tell you why here in a second. Let's welcome to the show the B-Man Brandon Thrasher. Hello, B-Man.
Hello, I have returned.
Yes, you have returned. So the reason that I realized it was because on yesterday's episode, when we unveiled Brandon's amazing new world premiere song, as he gets up from his chair and leaves, I'm like directly talking to him. I go to Buddy, our video guy, and I'm like, you know, when I'm pulling all this stuff, you know, for the snaps that I post out there on the socials, I'm like, dude, you're going to have to do a little, you know, you're going to have to take the audio and put it in here. For some reason, the video's not picking it up. I know we've had this problem in the past. I didn't realize it was this big of a deal. This kind of sucks. I'm like, only imagine on our YouTube channel when you get the full shows of Honey, I Raised the Kids podcast that we release on Monday, and then the Wednesday's Freebae episodes. These, like, you're not getting any of, you know, you're not getting any of this, you're not getting any of this, you're not getting any of this. So yesterday I was like, you're not going to be able to hear the stuff that Tim from Distinct Grace did with Brandon's horrible lyrics. And so I did a little research and I found out how to fix it. So now when I play this,
Bradley's in a Cadillac, smoking weed and doing crack. Found a bitch and broke her back. I don't know when he'll be back. I done took too many drugs, see the stars all day long. Geeked right now, I'll write this song. Baby girls home alone. I'm in the.
You can hear the whole thing, right? Now you can hear the whole thing. You can hear the magic of Tim from Distinct Grace with that amazing. I mean, like, if you were to think of the top 3 guitar riffs in the history of guitar riffs, you know, definitely with no argument, one of them is Sweet Child O' Mine and Slash, right? I mean, and then you could then debate and argue about all these other great riffs and Hendrix and, you know, Satriani and all these other different things. But dude, that riff that Tim puts in this Bradley Cadillac Sucky Shitty song by Branden is absolutely amazing. You know, and Branden, by the way, yesterday you were not on the episode because your internet wasn't working. Did you ever find out if Def August paid your bill or not?
Yeah, we didn't pay the bill. It happens every couple months. He forgets to pay it. He's got a call up there.
I was concerned that he wasn't going to be able to answer because he's deaf and you keep asking him the same thing.
Yeah, he can answer a phone better than talking in person.
Oh, okay. And he just forgot to pay the bill?
Yeah, it happens.
And you just didn't realize that the internet wasn't working at any point in time?
Well, when I woke up and I realized it wasn't working, that's when I'm like, oh shit. So I went upstairs and tried to reset it, did it like twice. Still wasn't working. And I remember last time this happened, the bill was not paid. So I was like, let me check to see if the bill's been paid.
This is 25. You know what? I even when I had roommates, when I was younger and living in an apartment, I don't think that there was once a time when, you know, we all had responsibilities. Like one person was in charge of paying the rent. One person was in charge of we didn't have internet obviously at the time, but one person was paying the long distance, or not the long distance, but yeah, the long distance bill, the phone bill. You know, not once did any of our bills ever get shut off. I lived with fairly irresponsible people that were responsible enough to at least pay the fucking bill.
Yeah, it's all up to August to pay it. Everything's under his name. So if he doesn't do it, we ain't got no choice. We ain't got no way to pay it.
Okay, so that's your first mistake is if you're in a situation like that, you want to be the lead. And I'll tell you why. You want to take responsibility and have your name on everything. One, it builds.
No.
Well, let me explain, young man.
You said responsibility, Jason.
It builds your credit, okay? And your shit doesn't get turned off. So you just, I mean, Branden, you're 25. You're not 15. You are growing up. You're becoming an adult. You are an adult. You have to
growing up.
You have to take responsibility of like paying an internet bill. It's not the end of the world. It happens.
He's still growing. He's still growing.
I pay my rent $500 a month. That's all I care about. If we don't have power when I show back up, that's fine with me. I'll call August and tell him. But I'm not sitting here doing it because it's not my house.
Yeah, but see, it builds your credit, and your credit is very, very important. You know, some people will argue, and I don't need good credit. I remember when I was your age, there were people like that. I don't need credit. I don't need credit. I'm going to pay everything cash. I don't need credit. Okay, you tell me how that works out for you down the road when you don't need credit. I just got off the phone. I just got off the phone with somebody, talking some money, and the lady was like, "What's your credit score?" And I said, "It's an 815." She goes, "Oh my God, it's an 815." I said, "Yeah, it's an 815." She goes, "That's great. Fantastic." You know, I mean, when you have a great credit score, people give you things, you know, so just telling you.
Like, well,
like what?
815. I was going to say it's, you know, without being employed, sometimes your credit score can be higher because you know, the state takes care of a lot of your bills.
How long did it take you? How long did it take you to come up with that one?
Dude, it was about 10 seconds too long.
Yeah.
I was trying, it was in my brain and I was like, oh, but yeah. All right.
They're called quips for a reason. They're quick.
You're such a dick.
That one was a little slow.
All right. I'll do better next time. I had it right at the tip of my tongue.
In your head, you're like, I'm gonna get him with the young.
Yeah, I was, dude. I was just rearing back for the haymaker, and then I was like, damn it, I lost it.
Fucking hour later, he's like, "What's it? The government that the into the fucking government."
Dude, shut up. All right, shut up. Pick on him. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
I don't pick on you, Chuck. You started. You try to be.
It was a jab. It wasn't a punch. It was a jab, and it came out a little late. And so, Branden, what happened to you last show? Where were you at? Other than, you know, obviously the internet was gone, but what'd you do instead?
Oh, that's not what happened. There's more to that story. I know.
I'm about to throw up real quick.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, that answers the question.
Look, here's the thing. It seems like everywhere I go, whether it's on the radio or in the podcast world, I work with someone that has a very good chance of dying.
Love that.
Either they're overweight, they've got mental health issues, they've got things hanging off their body, or they're 25, get no sleep, and beat themselves to death without internet.
Can't you?
It's I surround myself with death's waiting room. Okay. I don't know why I do these things. They just attract.
What'd you do yesterday since you weren't recording? Oh, I'm gonna throw up real quick.
It was a simple question. So I assume he's not going to be here for this episode either.
I think he'll be popping in. He'll be in and out.
God love him. Bless his heart. What do we say? Bless his heart. Right?
Bless his heart. He's okay. He'll be back.
He'll be back.
He's gonna learn from this experience. He'll be better tomorrow.
If anything, for those that are listening, you're excited to hear, if he comes back, Like, you can just sit through whatever it is that we're going to discuss. Manny's going to join us here in a little bit, and boom, there you go. So Mad Dog Manny Arora should be joining us here in the next 20 minutes or so. I want to bring up a few things. First and foremost, this is a Freebae episode. We hope you enjoyed. If you're a first-time listener to the BS, thanks for being here. We appreciate your time. We hope that you subscribe to the rest of the episodes. Remember, those episodes can, I believe, only be, I'm learning a lot, like I should know this stuff, but be unlocked on Spotify. So if you listen on Apple or Google or any other platform, you don't see those other episodes. So on Spotify, you'll see all the other episodes, the Tuesdays and Thursdays and the sub extras and so on and so forth, and even the archives in the past you get. So if you want to subscribe, we hope you do. Go to thebaileyshow.com. Support the cause if you want to be a sponsor. Now that Chuck can hear the bed underneath of all the great sponsors, reach out to me. All the information on thebaileyshow.com. The House of Horrors continues for me in this house that I moved into in Orlando. Listen to this story. So the things that this house was not renter ready when we moved in. So they're already in breach of contract. So there's a good chance that I'm so frustrated. I'm like, I told Rachel's like, we're just going to buy a house. We got to get out of this. We got to get into our own house. So I'll have to deal with all that, probably get Manny involved, and it's a whole thing. But they're breach of contract. It's a mess. So they were sending over this handyman to fix these things that were, a necessity to fix because the house isn't up to code. The pool, there's a lot of issues with the pool that you can get hurt. There were, the smoke detectors, and this is not working. And that, we just got a new dishwasher. Like, we still have a leak under the kitchen faucet, and it needs to be replaced because they did a lot of cheap renovation stuff. The handyman they had here, the guy would come at like 5 o'clock in the evening. He would barely do one thing, and then he would leave and come back the next day. And so he was a nice guy, and he's got a good heart, and he means well. And I know he's got a lot on his plate, but he never should have taken this job. So I'm sitting here for, over a week at this guy's beck and call. So it's like, okay, when is he going to show up? There's no communication. This agent that got us into this place is an absolute waste, like totally green, so above his paid scale. It's not even funny. So I finally got fed up with it. I'm like, enough's enough. I go, after today, you're going to have to make an appointment. You're going to have to be here on this time. I've given up way too much of my time. I've missed meetings and appointments and things and so on and so forth. So that ruffled some feathers. So I'm talking back and forth with this guy, this handyman. And I'm like, dude, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. And this guy starts talking to me on text like I'm his son or his friend. He's like, Jason, the world doesn't revolve around you. I've done everything I can for you. Like, and I'm going, what the fuck, dude? You're
nice.
Like, you're the handyman. You took a job. This is a business relationship. This isn't a personal. Don't analyze me, you fuck. Like, what are you doing right now? And so I went radio silent. I just didn't reply. I'm like, I'm not going to get involved in this. He's one of those types of people that wants to attract the drama. He wants the attention. And the guy's like in his late 50s, early 60s, I guess. And, again, he's a nice guy and he means well. He just put too much on his plate. And so, Branden, did you just go throw up and now you're back with a dip in your mouth?
I'm spitting out the residual.
The residual? Is that what you're spitting out? Why are you throwing up? Did you get drunk last night?
No, I ate Wendy's a little too late, probably like 11:30.
Yeah.
And he's trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
I heard that helps.
In there.
Yeah. You don't look good.
Yeah, no. Pretty rough.
Have you ever seen the movie Outbreak with
Morgan Freeman?
Morgan Freeman, Cuba Gooding Jr., who's the main guy from Tootsie? Not Travis.
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman, and a cameo by Patrick Dempsey. Right?
I've never seen it.
I don't know about the cameo, but you never seen it? Oh, it's great.
Patrick Dempsey's he's Ground Zero. He's the original. He's the guy working in the warehouse. He gets the monkey, and he gets on the plane and he gets sick, and he comes off and he kisses his girlfriend, and then it shows all the virus going to his girlfriend. So he was Ground Zero, right? You follow me?
I'm with you. I'm just waiting for Branden to throw up again.
Okay. So anyway, when Patrick Dempsey starts to get sick after being scratched by the monkey who's got this virus in the movie Outbreak, in which they have to contain this entire city and so on and so forth. The way he looks when he gets off the plane, he's pale white. He's not like sweating, but his pores are sweating inside. So he's got this glazed donut look to his face, like some large lady just left there. That's what Branden looks like right now.
Oh yeah. If he fell over right now, nobody would be surprised. Like I'd be like, saw that coming.
And he's spitting into a spitter, like he's dipping, but he's not. He's spitting leftover.
My mouth's just real thick right now.
Branden, it probably wouldn't matter if I said, I'm worried about you and you need to do healthier things and make healthier choices and better choices. It probably wouldn't resonate at all, would it?
No, not at all. Not one bit.
So it's like cool to not feel well, look like shit, and you're still in that stage of, oh man, I got so fucked up last night, puking, blah 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 blah.
He ate Wendy's, dude. He just ate Wendy's.
It's not just please.
It's not from elk. He did not drink. Branden would not drink on a Sunday or Monday, or he wouldn't drink early in the week. He only drinks late in the week.
Yeah.
I guess 25, it's because he never really, he didn't go to college.
So I went for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't real. So you're still in that stage of, this is feeling like this, looking like this is cool. So it probably won't hit you probably for another 5 years, right?
Yeah. I'm just ahead of the curve.
No. You're on par, but you're going to need something to happen. Like everybody has that, I've got to grow up moment. I was ahead of the curve. I wanted to grow up younger and get into my career and make money and be, have success and stuff like that. Obviously that's not on the docket for you, but
oh my God,
you are at that, you're still at that age where it's like, you can waste the day and feel like you feel like shit. You look like shit. I don't think I've ever seen you look so bad. I mean, other than when you were fat, and you're not so fat anymore, but you look sickly. Like if I were to walk into a hospital to do a tour to make people feel better because they don't have much time left, you look like one of the people that I would talk to.
Yeah, I'm just not a morning person, See me in the morning, it's not too good.
While we're recording this, it's not morning.
It's 9 o'clock at night. I don't know what he's talking about.
Thank you. You should be getting up at 6 a.m. and going to the gym and getting it out of the way and feeling good about yourself.
That's just craziness.
See, craziness. Chuck, what time do you get up in the morning?
On average between 6 and 7:30.
Boom. Feel great, don't you? Love getting up early.
Yeah, I mean, I feel good, I mean, it's you got to get up, and I got kids though, man. So I try to beat them, sit in the recliner, drink a cup of coffee, scroll through the news, start my day. Branden doesn't have kids, so he's more like, get up, throw up, have a dip, drink some Pepto, and try to find something to eat that's, in the fridge. I'm guessing spoiled milk.
So you're
saying
different
life.
So you're saying no real big agenda for Branden on a daily basis.
Well, and he's got to figure out what to do on social media that day. I
got to go to work.
But that's the thing is, Branden, you should make an agenda. Like, give yourself a goal each day so you can get out of this. Stop eating at 11:30 at night. It's horrible for you.
Yeah, but it's so fun, you know, just having fun.
Stop eating Wendy's.
Just having fun.
Stop eating Wendy's. You know, I mean, start.
I'm just having fun, Jason. I mean, come on now. A big Dave's Deluxe at 11. Come on, man. That's a good time.
That's when all my juices are flowing and you guys get stuff like this.
Bradley's in a Cadillac, smoking weed and doing crack. Found a bitch and broke her back. I don't know when he'll be back.
I already know the words. All right, let me get back to my handyman guy. All right, and if you did not hear the story about this song, you got to listen to yesterday's episode. So the guy's like continuously texting me about like me not being empathetic to his schedule. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, for the past week and a half, if not longer, I've been waiting for you with no I don't say no, but very little communication of when you're going to show up. Like, I don't know if you're going to show up at noon. Like one day he said, I'll be there early afternoon. And he shows up at 5. That's not early afternoon, you know? And then he'll say, I'm at Home Depot. I'm on my way over. Well, Home Depot's 20 minutes away from my house with traffic, maybe 30 with traffic, right? It's in a kind of a weird spot. So I'm like, okay, 3 hours later, he shows up and I'm like, dude, I thought you were at Home Depot. And then he pulls well, I had to go help a friend, or like, there's always some kind of drama. An emergency came up. My car broke down. Like there was always something, you know, you can only have so many drama happenings in 1 week until I call bullshit. You know, it's like,
maybe he's got like an addiction, man. Maybe he's like, you know, maybe he's going to a strip club. Maybe he's, you know, hitting the bottle or something, you know, maybe he's got something going on in his life and that's what's making all this harder on you.
He's not doing any of those things. He's a legit good person, but the problem is that he's got too much going on. He's trying to do too much at one time. And, you know, I know there's the mindset of like, I got to fill my plate. I got to get a lot done, but you can only have so much time to do things at 100%. And he definitely was not doing things at 100% around here. There goes Branden going to puke. Standing up. There he goes.
This is the greatest thing I've ever
No,
experienced.
I just had to get my Zens. I think it's time for nicotine now.
Yeah, there you go. Put the back on your mouth. Branden, my birthday is Friday, June 7th. This Friday, okay?
All right.
Looking to get me something for my birthday. Dip. Because would you like to guess how much a can of Skull Uncut Mint is in the state of Florida?
$8.42.
$10.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, $10. I remember when I was living in North Carolina in the early 90s, I could get a sleeve of 10 when they sold them in a sleeve of 10, not 5, a sleeve of 10 for $10. And now I'm paying.
Yeah, but I think back then wasn't the Leaf Garrett the big thing? Like pouches, like the actual big pouch of tobacco was in. So the little like real chew, right?
Man.
So cans weren't like a thing. So I think they were kind of like trying to get them to be a thing in the 90s, and then they just blew up and they took over. So maybe they were just, you know, you're part of that promo, you know, $1 a can, let's get people addicted.
I was a pioneer.
You were. Yeah, absolutely. You were the first one to land on that moon.
So
the only one to land on the moon.
Right. So I went to this website, Branden, called The Northerner, and I'm like, I'm Googling how to find cheap dip in Florida. And so it lands me on this page called The Northerner, and they actually sell tobacco products. They've got dip brands I never even heard of before. And they'll ship them to you. So I'm like, oh, this is great. I found the loophole. So I go in there and I'm like, load me up 25, 5 sleeves. It's like $100 and some bucks. Fine, dude. $5.69 a can. Done. Saving $4 a can. Absolutely. I'm in. So I do everything and I go and I hit put in my credit card and then send. It'll be here in a couple days. Fantastic. And then, I get notifications on my phone when my credit card gets charged. And so I look at I'm like, $250. I go, no, it was supposed to be $116 or something. They charged me $100 in taxes. So they charged me what it would cost in the state of Florida for the dip. So
such a ripoff.
You can't, I guess it's illegal to openly buy tobacco and traffic it to another state and try to get a better price. I'm assuming that's what it is. So I'm going to have to get you guys to send me dip. I'd rather pay for UPS of $30 and save $4 a can than just like I was doing in California. They didn't even sell mint dip out there. I had to drive an hour and a half, or my buddy Eddie would drive an hour and a half to Reno to go to the Indian smoke shops and get it and bring it back. And we would just load up our cars and spend like
how many cans do you go through like a week?
It's not good. It's not good because I take large dips. So, I mean, I probably get maybe 4 dips out of a can.
So you're going through at least a can to 2 cans a day.
Nah, yeah. I mean, it all depends on what I'm doing. You know, like if we're at the beach or we're out at the pool or outside or something like that. If I'm working, I'm dipping. That's the problem.
And you only work like 10 minutes a week.
There you go. Boom. Quick. Actually, I spend more time working trying to explain to you how emailing works than I do anything else.
Stupid.
So I go through at least 4 cans trying to explain to the Iron Fisted one. Oh my! It was a Caroline bot, and there's a link, and there's a check. And
Shut up! No, whatever, man. I don't do that. You're the email king. You send 20,000 emails at one time, and you're like, oh, "You guys are stupid. You can't find it." It's like a needle in a stack of needles.
It's okay.
And I work through it. It's
okay. I look. I know what I'm dealing with. I know what I'm dealing with up there, and I know what I'm dealing with up there, and I just have to manage it. That's all. I have to manage it. It's like I'm managing, a special basketball team.
Have you seen that movie with Johnny Knoxville? When it was about the special, is it Johnny Knoxville?
Oh, The Ringer.
The Ringer.
Ringer. You're the Ringer.
You're Johnny.
You're the Iron Fisted Ringer. And you're the B man at Ringer. I don't know what that means, but yeah, you know what I mean? Dun, 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 woo.
Bradley's in a Cadillac, smoking weed and doing crack. Found a bitch and broke her back.
Branden is so not amused at all by any of this song. Like, look at his face. He's so mad right now.
I'm surprised
he's mad.
I haven't said anything about the song. Like
he's mad. He's mad. He wanted this to be produced in Nashville by a #1 production company, and it was released here. And now he's angry because that song was gold, and it still is gold. But I can tell he is not happy right now.
Gotta have a new shirt. Can't trust Chuck.
I knew it. I knew he was gonna be mad at me. I told you, Jason.
Hold on.
Branden, it was Jason. It was Jason, not me.
Why did you tell him in the first place?
Hold on. Stop. I guess we haven't addressed this yet, and we should do this before Manny jumps on. So Chuck said that you did a song, and he said that Tim, his guitarist from Distinct Grace, produced it, and he gave it to me. And of course I'm going to play it. I figured that's what you would want. Well, I was going to do it yesterday. I had it all planned out, and you didn't. Your internet wasn't there, whatever. I mean, there's tons of mileage on this song. So are you upset because you didn't want it played? I didn't know.
I mean, I'll just, I'll take it on my own route now, I guess. I have to find some Indian guy out there in Pakistan.
He's so mad. He's so mad at me.
I guess I'm missing something. What's the problem?
I wanted to be a little more done, not so goofy. I wanted to where I could get it on TikTok and people would use it as a sound. I can't post that on TikTok.
Are you kidding? Branden, are you joking? This is made for TikTok. Are you kidding? I don't know how you wanted it produced and who you had planning to produce it, but this is awesome. Like I would tell you if it sucked. This is so bad, it is awesome. Like this is what gets people. You know what this is, Branden? This is the equivalent. This is the redneck version of Baby Shark. That's what that is. Seriously.
He is not believing a word you say right now. Look at him. He was ready for this thing to go triple platinum. And you think, hey, I'm just gonna say, Branden, to defend myself, when I heard it, I was like, okay, this is shtick. Branden is just giving me shtick. So I gave it to Tim. He did his thing. And then when I called Jason and I said, hey, man, Branden gave me this song. How would we need it to be formatted to be played on the show or whatever? And he's like, oh, dude, Branden wants this played on the show. He wants it. He wants it played on the show. I know Branden. And he's known you longer. So if you're going to be mad at anyone, I think you should direct all your anger at Jason. Like, that's what all of it should be. And if you want to do that, I will back your play. I'll be mad at him too.
I don't know why you would do that, Branden. I received a song in my email box from Chuck, and he said, Branden wants you to play this. And I'm like, okay, why didn't Branden ask me to play this? And he goes, because he's not feeling well. He ate Wendy late last night and his internet's not working. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool. He could have still shot me a text. He goes, no, he was busy because he was doing pumps in people's yards. I'm just doing him a solid because I love him and he's my friend. So is there any way we can get this on the show? And I'm like, of course there's a way. Let me hear it. And he sends it to me. And I just heard the first 10 seconds. And I was like, absolutely, we'll get this on the show because this is amazing. So I'm sorry if I did anything wrong. I was just following directions from Chuck.
You sit on a throne of lies. Lies.
So Manny Arora, the Arora Law Firm, the best defense attorney in the world, joins the program. Hello, Manny Arora.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you guys doing today?
Is that your office?
Yes.
Wow, I've never seen your office before. I've seen your house. I've seen your car. I've never seen your office. That's fancy pants. Look at that place.
It is pretty fancy.
Well, there's awards. Or those that means you graduated, right? Those are all your graduation trophies?
We've got some Case of the Year awards and certificates from colleges and all that kind of stuff.
Did I see you graduated from the University of Phoenix on the wall there?
That was just for my master's. No, I'm kidding. Georgia Tech and then Georgia State.
Just kidding with you, man. Hey, Manny, do you want to hear the hottest new track on about to break the charts right now? It is written and it's sung by Branden, B-Man Thrasher, and produced by Tim from Distinct Grace. Do you want to hear the most addicting song ever?
Well, how can I turn down that request? Of course.
Here we go. I'm going to play the whole thing because it's a little lengthy, but it was pretty good.
Bradley's in a Cadillac, smoking weed and doing crack. Found a bitch and broke her back. I don't know when he'll be back. I done took too many drugs, see the stars all day long. Geek right now, I write this song. Baby girl's home alone, I'm in the club getting dome. Stupid drunk, I'm walking home.
Those vocals.
Did that, Branden. Somehow you found a way. You were like, yeah, you want to bootleg my song? Jerks.
What do you think, Manny? Pretty good.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's good for business.
Those vocals, I mean, to hit that note and so not on beat. That's a skill in itself to not be on that, to be that offbeat. Branden does it all. I tell you.
How can I be offbeat when there wasn't even a beat? The beat was supposed to come behind it and complement what I was doing. That was a rough cut. And then
I'm sure somebody probably told you to use Metrodome. What is it called?
Metronome.
I
mean, is it possible for Branden to recut it for Manny? And it could be like, Bradley's in a Cadillac, arrested, but Manny's got his back. You know what I mean? Like you could put it in a commercial for the Arora Law Firm, and that would be huge. And I'm sure that Manny would throw you a couple ducats for that, Branden.
In order to get out of jail, I got to put money in his sack. Lots of money for Manny now, or I'm going back to jail. Now, the trick will be for when we have podcast in Pores 4, which is all but done, and we'll get to that at another day. You're going to have to be able to perform that live.
He will. That is definitely happening.
All right. Manny Arora, how you been, buddy? I know you went, where were you in Europe, right? You went over.
Yeah, I'm part of this lawyers group. There's about 200 of us across the country, and they go overseas once a year for the annual conference. And so we were in Spain for about a week, and that was really nice. Never been.
You're at the upper side of society when your conventions are in Spain. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
these lawyers are very successful and muckety muck. So I was lucky to get invited, and then you have to go through this vetting process. I guess after 30 years, I've learned a few things. So it was very fortunate, but they're really heavy hitters all across the country.
That's pretty good. So I got a few comments from I think the last time you were on regarding your wife's birthday, and
Okay.
people were curious on what you ended up doing for her, and if you took my advice and took her to Vegas to see Adele or whatever it was.
So we didn't go to Vegas since we were going to be going to Spain at the end of May
Mhm.
because her birthday is on Cinco de Mayo. And so I bought her a really fancy purse from a store called Loewe. It looks like Lowe's, but it's a Spanish store. It's called Loewe. It's one of those fancy pants, like Gucci level kind of stuff. So I bought her a purse and made her happy, and it's all good.
Yeah, you sure you made her happy?
She seemed appreciative, so it was fine.
Yeah, just another material thing from Manny Arora for her birthday.
Yeah, it's easier to do that than what am I going to do? Draw a card or something?
So, just out of curiosity, since my birthday is this Friday, is where's my Lowe's purse? I mean, do you have anything like that for me?
I have to check to see if they have any man bags, but I could. But in Europe, it's like a lot of the dudes carry the crossbody thing. You can see people running with those things on. It was just like different culture.
I'm a man bag guy, actually. Like I because my pockets, I'm always wearing gym shorts and I can't put everything in there. So I put, my wallet, my keys. I got a bunch of keys, like a janitor, put my gun in there, put everything in there. I love my man bag, especially when I go play poker. I got snacks and energy drinks. It's pretty good. So, you know what? If you can't find a man bag, just a sleeve of Skull Long Cut Mint Extra. That's what I'm asking everybody to get me. Just dip, because dip is so freaking expensive in the state of Florida. So dip from Georgia, ship it on down. I'd appreciate it. Before we get to some of these listener questions, by the way, you guys are great. The newsletter, there's a section on there where you can ask a question to Manny. It goes directly to me. And then also on every episode that we have Manny Arora on, just on the Spotify app, there's I usually put interaction stuff like, yes or no's or fill in the blank type of deals. And so when Manny's on, you guys ask questions and I get good feedback. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm working on a texting service where you'll be able to text the show. And I can get to those and also leave audio messages via the text. So I'm working on that as we speak. So hopefully that will be in the very, very near future. Before we get to these, Brandon's got a court case. He was supposed to be in court today while we record this episode, but it got pushed back. Does Manny know about your court case? Have we brought that up, Brandon?
Yeah, I think we brought it up a couple times.
This is the bar, the trespassing, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay. And Manny's advice to you was what?
I can't remember what his advice was.
Don't trespass again.
Yeah, that too. Stay out of that bar.
And why was your court date pushed back?
No, I wasn't pushed back. I just got the day wrong.
Okay, you just got the day wrong. And Manny, do you remember any of this? Did you try to give him any type of advice to help him?
I don't remember it at all. So let's go through what exactly happened. Were you given a warning before and then you went back and that's when they charged you with trespass?
Yeah, but I don't ever remember them giving me a warning. So
Okay.
I came back and the bouncer let me in. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, yeah, you got to come with me. I'm like, what? Why? And then they're like, you're being arrested for criminal trespassing. And then they threw on obstruction of justice too.
What did you do to obstruct?
They said I was like pulling my body away from the cops, like, whoa, what's going on here? Why am I getting arrested?
Is this in municipal court or where are we in court?
Municipal, I believe.
Which town?
Noonan.
Okay. All right. Well, it's pretty easy to get done. Did you hire a lawyer for God's sakes?
Yeah, and then he backed out on me.
Is that because you didn't pay him?
Well, he didn't ever tell me when to pay him. He said, I'll
Okay.
see what I can do. So I just got to go in there tomorrow. And I guess I'll just say no contest.
Do you see a common theme with your answers, Brandon? I don't remember and he didn't. There's a lot of pointing the finger at other people.
Well, he told me the price, but he never said when to pay him.
Here's another this is 25 moment from Brandon. It's called taking responsibility. So I don't remember them not telling me I couldn't come in.
Well, I texted him also, and he said, well, there's nothing we can do about it until your court date. And then he texted me like 2 days ago. He's like, Hey, I think I'm gonna still have trial on Wednesday. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it. Here's this other guy. I called him. I ain't heard back from him, so I guess I'm going in there solo.
Ooh.
Just
Manny,
get it
what's the
reset till you get a lawyer, unless the prosecutor gives you some kind of time served kind of thing or a no plea or something.
Yeah, I was gonna go for no contest. That a good idea?
Yeah, it depends on what the fine will be if they give you any conditions. So I'd talk to the prosecutor, and if they don't give you what you want, just get it reset for you to hire a lawyer.
Manny, could he like seriously get jail time for this?
He's not getting jail time for this, but technically, anytime you're arrested, you can get jail time. And if it's a city ordinance violation, it could be 30 to 60, 90 days. If it's a misdemeanor, it could be up to a year.
if Branden gets jail time, will Manny Arora come and bail him out?
Well, there's no bail because he's already been convicted and gets time. The bail is pre-trial, so theoretically tomorrow he could have a bench trial.
Will you file an appeal on his part for like, I don't know, not having good representation?
Well, having none, but that's his choice. So he'd have to waive all that stuff. He'd fill out some paperwork saying I'm doing this without a lawyer. And so it'd be very difficult to appeal anything because he would have waived everything.
So
Sounds
he's
like,
screwed.
yeah, this sounds like a lot of work, as we've already found out earlier in this episode. Branden doesn't want to even take responsibility for paying the internet bill. So for him to fill out forms of trying to stay out of jail, I think Branden, just because he's so fucking lazy, would rather go to jail than to fill out all these forms.
But I think he could win because they'd have to prove that they gave him notice of not coming back there. And generally, like apartment complexes and stuff will give you notice in writing or something to that extent. And then moving your hand away, there's going to be body cam footage. We'd have to see how jerked he did against being handcuffed. And that may go away too, because they just always tack on charges, especially if it's towards the end of the month to make the quotas. So it depends on when you got arrested. They could always probably added a few extra things for fun, or it gives them an excuse to beat the shit out of you if they say you're obstructing. It's like, stop headbutting my fist. You're obstructing.
What was the date? What was the date you were arrested, Branden?
Like the 12th, I think.
Oh,
Okay.
Look at Branden. He's like a deer in headlights right now. One, he doesn't know if he has to throw up again. But two, he's listening to Manny and he's going, God, this is great advice. I would have never thought about any of this. This is so good for when I do go to court. I'm going to bring Manny. Do you think you could repeat all of that 5 times again? Because I can't remember a damn thing.
If I didn't have this double murder hearing tomorrow, I'd go represent him just for fun.
Double murder. You need to get down to Noonan and take care of Branden Thrasher so he stays out of jail for trespassing and obstruction of justice. This double murder thing, Manny, you can wait on this for like you just put that on the back burner, brother.
Yeah.
What's the double murder? Who murdered who?
So 17 years ago, there was a double murder and the guy was tried and convicted. What had happened is there were multiple witnesses that cleared him of the crime, but the state didn't call those witnesses to testify, which they don't have to, but it just seems very unethical to me not to do that if you know there's people that can clear you. But the names of the witnesses were put in this massive thing of what they call discovery. You know, it's all the evidence. This client didn't have any money, so he got the public defender who was assigned to the case, I think the Thursday or Friday before the Monday trial was supposed to start. And he didn't catch the names of people to go talk to. And so technically the government had given you the exculpatory information by giving you the names. There's no written statements, but these 2 different witnesses on one per each murder would have cleared him. So of course he gets convicted because he's got tattoos on his face and all this other stuff. And he hires us a few years ago and he's ended up serving 17 years in prison before we won essentially the appeal. And so now he's up for a new trial, which is set for July 8th. And of course, we're not going to miss any of these witnesses and do that. So I fully expect to win, but the DA's office is very aggressive with their gang charges against this person. And the reason they do that is it's every white woman's worst nightmare to have a black guy gang and all that stuff. And they're hoping the fear will just shut their minds down and they won't actually listen to the evidence and convict him again. But this young man was a teenager and he served almost 18 years in prison now for these 2 things. And, you know, he's done some not so great things in his life, but you shouldn't be punished just for the sake of being punished, because these 2, actually, I don't think he did.
Now, what is he going to get? Or has he already gotten something from the state?
Well, he was serving 2 life sentences when we won the appeal. So it's like we're starting all over again. It's like we're back to zero. But the problem is he's lost almost 18 years of his life.
Yeah. I mean, so the state pays what, restitution, right?
No, they don't pay anything. They're just going to charge him. It went through the process and he lost. It's not like DNA says he didn't do it. This is a pure eyewitness situation. I mean, like in one of the cases, the guy says, I saw him because I was driving by at night and I could see it in the headlight, for that split second that I went by him. I mean, it's just how ridiculous it is. And back then in 2007, 2008, we didn't have all the stats and figures to say how unreliable eyewitness testimony is, especially in this. I mean, have you ever driven at night and, people in the crosswalk and you got your headlights on them, how hard it is to identify or look at anything? I mean, I've been doing that experiment with headlights under street lights. Sometimes you can't even tell if the person's white or black. But that's what it was based on. But the fact is, when you put the fear of gangs and guns and tattoos and black eye, sometimes people just shut their mind down and they convict no matter what.
So Manny, I know Jason just asked a question. I kind of have one like that. So if somebody goes to jail for say 17 to 18 years and then you represent them and then they're found not guilty,
right?
The state doesn't pay them any money for the 18 years they spend in jail now that they're found not guilty. Like, hey, sorry, our bad. Here's $1 million. They don't do that?
They don't do any of that stuff. And in Georgia, it's, sometimes you'll hear about it, but there's no law that says you have to be given any money. Usually the legislature will pass a resolution to pay you a few $100,000 if you've been out there. But understand, he hasn't been exonerated. What the appeals, when we appealed it up and the judge ended up finding is the lawyer that represented him was ineffective because he didn't go interview the 2 witnesses that would have said he didn't do each of the respective murders. But my position was, if you're the government and you have the information, you should put it all out there because you're supposed to be the white hat fairness and all that kind of garbage, which is just not true. But instead, they just wanted to win. So they did the bare minimum. They buried the name in the discovery. And whether the defense lawyer finds it or not, they've met their burden. And so the judge says the defense lawyer screwed up, you get a new trial. It's not that he was exonerated by DNA or anything like that. And so it's like nothing ever happened. The last 17 plus years are irrelevant. We're starting again on July 8th.
Wow. I always thought that you got paid. And I always remember that, like, you didn't get paid much, because there are people that have gotten paid when they're found not guilty after serving X amount of time in jail. And tell me if I'm off here, but certain states cap it too.
Right. But most states don't actually have a rule for that. It's just they do it as a courtesy. They don't have to. But it's just appropriate. But if I've done 30 years and they give me $1 million, they can keep it. I can't get the 30 years of my life back. I mean, that's essentially almost half your life wasted. But the thing that always gets me is when you see them in the news, those people always seem very positive about it. Man, I would be bitter, angry, but I've never seen any of them like going off. It's always just like, I always knew and my family's with me or whatever. But can you imagine this kid has been there for 18 years? How much technology has changed from almost no social media back then to now? Cell phones were, obviously everywhere, but the technology and the things that we've gotten, AI, my God, the guy's, everything's changed. I mean, he's still in custody because he's facing 2 murder charges, but he's local now in Atlanta at the local jail.
It's funny. I've always wondered that too, because you're right. They're always very positive. And, one side of me is going, okay, well, you got what else you got? I mean, you're out. You've spent, let's say, 30 years in jail and you're out now and you're free. Of course, you're going to be happy. Maybe now's not the time to be angry. Then the other side of me is going, I wonder if part of the deal is they say, okay, look, originally we were only going to give you X, but we're going to give you Y. But when the cameras are on, we need you to be positive and appreciative.
Yeah, who knows what is happening when the sausage is being made back there. I guess I'd just be happy to get out. But still, I couldn't imagine myself being that upbeat. I would have been beat down after all that time.
Right.
Make sure you thank the warden. Make sure you thank the warden for everything he did for you over these 20 years. Like, yeah, whatever, man. Whatever.
Talk about how great the lunches are, please. All right, here's an email. No, I think this was on the Spotify app. Question for Manny Arora from ATL Foxy Felicia. I have an autistic son. Are there special needs attorneys I can hire to go into the IEP meetings with my son's school that I'm having issues with? It's an ongoing battle with these schools. First, can you define IEP? What is that?
Well, it's like an intellectual disability kind of thing. My son's autistic too, so we had to use that because when you go from public school to a private school that specializes in these things, there's a school called Cumberland Academy of Georgia where my son went, which is really awesome. I'm on the board there, and they deal with kids on the autism spectrum. But yes, there are lawyers. If you just Google that, a handful of names will come up. Like there's maybe 3 or 4 in the city, and they're excellent. They'll help you get the benefits and all that kind of stuff that you need to get. I don't want to give anybody's name on it because I don't want to play favorites, but if you just Google it, it'll come up. There's about 3 or 4 that's about it in the city.
So these attorneys that ATL Foxy Felicia is asking for are specializing in special needs clients, or are they autistic as well?
No, they're lawyers like me, just specializing in this kind of thing. There's a whole section of education law that people deal with, like if your kids get in trouble or if you want to get into the issues with the school. But some subspecialize for IEP kids in getting their benefits from the state because they're entitled to a certain amount of money to subsidize private school tuition and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like going to a sushi restaurant. You want somebody Japanese serving you sushi. If I have an attorney representing me and my special needs kid, I kind of want my attorney to have be special needs as well.
Well, I think that would be a problem because that's why you get a certain school because anyway, I'm not going to touch that one because it can only go badly for me, but yeah.
He's so bad.
I'm sure there's some word that I'm using that's not allowed anymore, but whatever.
No, I mean, think about it. Right? Especially an attorney with Tourette's.
Yeah, we're crossing some lines, aren't we here, guys?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just gonna sit here.
Okay, I'll move on. I'm just trying to make a conversation here and bring up some very obvious points, I think. If the judge...
Branden have anything to add?
The judge was like, you're guilty, and my Tourette's attorney was like, fuck you! That would be cool. And he can get away with it because he's got a special need. Anyway, all about adventure. Manny question. The county we live in Georgia, has changed code that does not allow a fenced-in front yard. We have fenced our entire yard years ago because we have an autistic son. There's another one, autistic. It's huge. And it keeps him safe. We live in a not always safe neighborhood, no HOA. Kids have been hit in our neighborhood due to cars driving too fast, and the fences also prevents him from leaving the yard if he were to open the door without us knowing. He's taller than me, so raising the locks higher up the doors don't work anymore. Is there a legal action I can take due to the safety issue with my son to be allowed to keep my fence if code enforcement comes to give me a warning? Another great question.
So if you had the fence before the law changed, they don't get to, you're grandfathered in, so you can keep whatever you want. It's just like when zoning things change in the cities, you get to do whatever needs to be done. It's just stuff going in the future. So you just have to prove that you had the fence prior to the law changing and you should be fine. If they give you a hard time, there's construction attorneys that would easily be able to beat this thing. It's probably not worth hiring one, but I would just have proof that you had the fence up well before the law changed in your city.
Okay, there you go. The Mook B. All right. I'd like to get Manny's thoughts on the YSL RICO case thus far. My thoughts are the state has built the case on speculation and hearsay, and the judge is biased. What is the YSL RICO case?
That's the one with Young Thug. They're claiming that all those people that are on trial are part of the YSL gang, Young Slime Life. And it's on TV, so you can watch it every single day. They take Fridays off. Unfortunately, the judge is the chief judge of Fulton County. And when he's ruling against you, everybody thinks they're biased and corrupt and all that kind of stuff. That's just not uncommon. But generally, when you have a high profile case with gang charges and murder and all that kind of stuff, the judges are going to go with the state on just about every close call. And that doesn't matter if you're in California, New York, or Georgia. That's just the way it is. And the lawyers know that. They've got some shady witnesses. Some of the acts that they're charging where they're 10 plus years old. So it's a iffy case. My biggest concern as a defense lawyer would be this thing's going to drag out for almost 2 years. Remember, they had jury selection for close to a year, which is just absurd. And now they're going to run this trial with 500 witnesses. Half of them say the same damn thing over and over again. And I don't know if the jurors are going to remember half the shit by the time it actually comes around, but that would be my biggest fear. But yes, there's witnesses that say X, Y, and Z about it. So there's eyewitnesses, there's speculation, there's all that, but it's allowed.
There's a new show on TV, and I forget the name of it, but the whole point is this guy, his job is to go in and make sure the attorney is picking out the right jury members. He reads the room. And
jury consultant.
Is that what they're called? Okay. So if you watch the show on Netflix, Lincoln Lawyer, which is awesome, he brought in a woman, I think, to do that for this one trial. And she just is like, looking the body language and all this other stuff. That's so a job I could do, by the way. I can read people. So that's good. Do you have one of those that you use all the time when you go to jury trials?
No, because they're insanely expensive. And to me, it's just fully speculative, as to who's doing what. Generally, when we go into jury selection for a murder, it'll take about a day and a half to pick a jury. You try to get the people talking to actually get their real answers versus the politically correct. Like when they say, you feel like you're going to be biased, everybody's going to say no, right? But I'm like, you're a white person from Roswell, Georgia, which is just north of the city, looking at a black guy with a tattoo in their face, and you're not going to feel uncomfortable, if you saw them in a certain situation. So the idea is to talk to them and just be straight up with it. You can hire people to second guess and say his eyes look this way or he looked that way, but any one of you, if I sat you down in front of a group of people and said, he's charged with child molestation, they'd be like, yeah, look at his eyes or his scraggly beard or something like that. People just get biased naturally against whoever is sitting there. So our goal is always to get them talking and get them to honestly say something and basically say, if this is somebody you actually gave a damn about that was sitting there, would you be a person that would be fair and impartial to judge them based on how they looked? And those are the answers that we go for. And that's what I hit home. I mean, it doesn't matter, whether you voted Republican or this or that, or if you have, stickers for the death penalty. It's just, can you get them to be fair, not biased? Because most of the people, when they walk into a courtroom and the judge says this is a criminal trial, and they'll see the African-American gentleman generally sitting next to me, the first thing they're going to say is, I wonder what he did. And that's the first question I asked. Did you think he's innocent until proven guilty? Or is the first thing is like, do you think, I wonder what he did? So we're already starting behind the eight ball. And so I get them to be honest with themselves, because Jason, I mean, if you walked in there and said, this is a criminal trial, you'd already think, gosh, he's here because he must have done something.
Sure.
And that's what we're trying to get them back to and say, look, technically he hasn't done anything. As he sits right here, he's not guilty. But people don't always feel that way. That's just the reality of the world.
Yeah, well, that's a tough sell. But, I don't know if that's fair, Manny. Yes, it is a reality of the world, but it's you're reading the room, and I think it's human nature to go, okay, well, if, they're in court and they're being accused of something, it's almost a figure of speech to say, what did he do versus what is he being charged with? So it doesn't mean that you're biased. It's just kind of how we're programmed to think and what to say. I mean,
I'm not necessarily saying it's biased. It's just, I want people to be able to acknowledge that. Once you ask that question and people say, no, I didn't think that at all. That's what we use it for, to say, I know that person's not being sincere when they're saying, I didn't think about, I wonder what he did. Because human nature is, I would think that way. Is like, I wonder why he's here, what he did. Oh. And so we try to do it in the reverse to say, I know how I would think and how biased I can be in my personal life. How do I get that ferreted out? And the people that go politically correct or don't answer it, to me, those are the ones I don't want, because they're not being sincere.
Yeah.
Hey, Manny, whenever you're doing jury selection, and if it's like a child molestation case, do you ever just look at their mustache and you can kind of tell?
Yeah, I don't get too many people with mustaches, but yeah.
If you need help with that, I can tell you, because there's
if you got the square 770s glasses and a mustache, you're on the jury. Have at it. It's the MAMLA.
Well, you know the difference between a child molester's mustache and a non-child molester's mustache.
I don't. Tom Selleck, the 80s, those things have come out. So now the mustaches are either you're of a certain genre or you're a child molester.
Well, you know how to tell the difference. It's very simple.
Share, please.
The smell.
I usually don't get close enough to the mustache to smell it, but yes.
Usually 5, 8 feet, you can get the stench, you know. So it's always the smell. If it smells a little like Chuck's growing this mustache out that he's very proud of and his wife hates, and people are calling him, a child molester.
Shut up. No, they're not.
And it doesn't help that he's coaching Little League. So
He's got no kids on the team.
and he drops them off at away games in this white van with tinted windows. It's very weird. There goes Brandon, throw up again. All right, last question here from Manny. Hey Manny, I broke up with my girlfriend recently and she took my shit. We lived together for like 8 years and she said half was hers. Is that true? Or
No, unless you're married, there's no half or any of that kind of stuff. So you can get your stuff back if you really want it and go through the headache of trying to get it back. But if she took something valuable and she won't give it back, if it's less than $15,000, you can go to most magistrate courts in whatever county you live in. You fill out a piece of paper. You pay like a $50 filing fee. The sheriff will serve her. You'll go to court, sort of like the People's Court, if you ever watch that show, and the judge will decide.
Yeah.
It's really easy to do self-help on something like that, especially usually the magistrate courts, like I said, are about 15,000 or less in most counties. So that would allow a lot of people to do what they need to do without having to pay a lawyer.
There you go. All right. Well, those are the questions. If you got them, get them in for Manny's next visit. Again, please sign up for the newsletter, thebaileyshow.com. There is a permanent, and I know, Manny, you open it because I see that you open my newsletters. Do you like my newsletters?
I do.
You do? Did I do a good job? They're easy to read? You like all the stuff?
They're easy to read, yeah.
Yeah. And you see,
Don't always agree with everything, but it's interesting.
you don't agree. Why? It's not an opinionated piece. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Well, hold on. What do you not agree with in my newsletter? It's not an op-ed piece. I just put it out there. What is it that you don't
Some
agree
of the stuff that's on there, it's interesting.
Like, example, please?
I don't know. I just got back from Spain, but I look at it. And so it's got the click. That's all you need. It doesn't matter why, but you look at it. It's like,
Spit it out. Spit it out, attorney. What is it about my newsletter that you have a problem with?
I got no problem. It's interesting reading. I want everybody to read it. And sometimes I get a chuckle out of it.
What are you laughing at? I'm putting you on the stand. What are you laughing at?
The layout and all that kind of stuff, and do this, do that. I think it's great.
Okay, so are you saying
It requires thought and all that kind of stuff. It's well done.
Okay, no, wait a minute. This is good feedback. Are you saying it's too busy?
Yeah, but busy is very subjective, right? To me, sometimes I like more visual than a bunch of words, on the screen. So like our website, we try to have more interactive kind of things and, paragraphs of information of stuff that nobody's going to read. So I like videos. I like that kind of stuff on the website. And sometimes it can get too busy because you're doing a lot of stuff.
Okay, no, I like that. That's good feedback. So, I do that open piece, which my agent does not like. She thinks I'm too personal, so she doesn't even get what I do. But I got to have that open piece because I think people enjoy that. And I've tried to shorten it up over time. I like writing, so I shorten that up a little bit. But if you're saying the rest of it's too busy, which I think you are, that's good feedback because I can totally dumb it down and spend half the time that I spend on that. I'm just trying to put as much information, and that's probably my fault. So it's good feedback.
Right. Like we have a website company that works on our website, and every month we have a meeting, or every 2 months, and they tell you how long people have stayed on there and how many clicks they do. And so they say the more information that's out there, the less likely they are to stay there. So you can see, did somebody stay on the website for 15 seconds, 3 minutes, whatever. So I'm looking at everything from that lens now. So I'm a little maybe more educated on some of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's a website that does this. What was it called? Ajar or something like that, where it actually records people's visits to your website, where you can actually watch their mouse cursor go through your website and see their movements and what they're clicking on. That's what they're talking about probably. And it's fascinating. And like to know that even exists, that it records.
Scary.
It's really scary. Yeah. I hired an SEO company for the My Court Caddy stuff, and we did all that. And I knew nothing about that side of that stuff, and he's like, yeah, if you see here, you'll see they went here, they went left to right, left to, and then you'll notice a pattern, and then you go through it, and that's what those people do. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Do you want to stick around for one question with Branden, Manny, and try to answer it?
Of
course you do. All right, here we go.
One question with Branden.
All right, Branden, between throwing up this episode, you're able to get your one question in, and that is what?
All right. Is the bottom of the ocean technically where the start of the top of the earth is?
Is the bottom of the ocean technically the start of the top of the earth?
Yeah, because I was looking at this like water bottle cap here, and it's like, you got the top. That's this part down here is still considered the top, but then you got the top of the top.
God, that's a great question. Manny, would
I'm
you go first? Hold on, let Manny go first. Yeah, Manny.
Oh God, it's like the randomness of the whole thing. Well, after the bottom of the ocean, there's all the layers of rock and all that kind of stuff. So I guess it's the bottom of the lid, but not the top of the lid. And when we say top, do we mean the top of the earth? Because it's rotating. So even the bottom could be the top, depending on where you go from. So I would say no.
No. Okay. Chuck?
Because there's going to be a lot of layers
between. So yeah, Branden, are you considering the layers? Or are you just saying that if you were to look at the earth and it's round and the top of the earth is land, right? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying since water is water, the floor of the ocean would be the equivalent to the top of the land? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like you go to the bottom of the ocean and you like
Gotcha.
Put a shovel in there and you're like, all right, I'm at the top.
Gotcha. Chuck?
So I have a topography globe at my house right now. And it definitely does not go down under like the ocean water. So I'm going to say the top is straight across the ocean.
There's ground under the ocean.
Yeah, but the top is the top. Like the lid, if you have the lid, the top is the top once you fill it with water.
Well, so that's his question. Like, if you reword it, his question is, would you consider water the equivalent of land to the surface of the earth?
Yes.
I see what you're saying. I think I see what you're saying. If I'm understanding correctly, that's a really interesting question. I'm going to agree with Chuck and say that the water is the surface. And the only reason I want to say that is because if you can put something on it, then it would be surfaceable, right? So if you could not put a boat or a plane or a person or a raft or a float, then the floor would be surfaceable. So
yeah, but if you drop a rock on the ground, it's going to stay right there. If you drop a rock in the water, it's got to go all the way down.
Depends what type of rock it is. If you have a rock that floats, I mean, look,
a rock that floats.
There's those spongy porous rocks. You drop in the water, it floats. Yeah.
There's no way.
Absolutely.
Talking about volcanic rock. The volcanic rock could float.
There you go. Thank you, Manny. The volcanic rock can float. Have you ever seen a fish tank and those little pebbles? Those are rocks.
They're at the bottom of the water, though.
No, not all the time. Sometimes they float up to the top, and the fish think they're food, and they eat it, and they die. I've seen it happen in real time. Don't tell me about my rocks. I know about my rocks.
Well, then the other thing is the Earth's around, right? So it's like the ocean. Does it go through the whole thing, or is it ocean on this side? And could there be land on the other side when the bottom hits and comes up?
Congratulations.
I never thought about it that way.
You've now officially made the best defense attorney in the country dumber because of your question, and he's sticking around. I thought it was bad when he was here with Better with Fuck, but now he's officially not the Manny Arora of 20 minutes ago. And that might be just because his affiliation with this program and my relationship for years. All right. So, Branden, do you have an answer for your own question or no?
I would say the bottom, it starts there. It starts at the top. The bottom is the top. The bottom of the ocean starts to be the top of the earth.
Okay. Well, I'm going to.
So where the Titanic currently lies is the start of the surface of the earth.
Yes.
Start of the earth. It's a cover for UFOs so they can go under to their home. Seen that latest one in Vegas? That's a UFO. I'm telling you. We're going to get there. Next 5 years, the aliens will be amongst us. That if you want to jump on a conspiracy theory, jump on that one. That's for real. All right, Manny Arora, the AuroraLawFirm.com. I hope you enjoyed your visit today. We enjoyed having you.
Is this going to get published? Can you edit out the stupidity of my question and answer section? I might lose some clients.
No, that's kind of the rule with the show is we don't edit anything in between the start of my reads and the outro of the show. What happens, happens. Branden pukes, you might answer. It is what it is, you know? It's just that's
a dangerous game playing one question with Branden.
It's a dangerous.
Were you on mushrooms when you came up with that one? Because that was out there.
Oh, you should like you want to book every time on this show. We'll book you when we do one question with Branden. That's nothing compared to some of the stuff. As goofy and dumb as it might seem, they're actually thought starters, especially if you're high. And I know you're not high, but you know, I mean, we're talking about a guy that did this.
Bradley's in a Cadillac, smoking weed and doing crack.
That's what we need, Manny. When you walk into the courtroom, you need an entrance song. You need lights like a wrestler. And it's like you have your minion go, Judge, I'd like to welcome into the courtroom the Mad Dog Manny Arora. And you kind of come down like a sugar egg.
Bradley's in a
Yeah, and
Cadillac,
this is playing in the background.
smoking weed
Like,
and
woo,
doing
Daddy.
crack.
What do you think? You like it?
It's a thought.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Manny, thank you very much. You have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Talk to you guys later.
See you later.
Bye.
Yep.
Now, one of these days, Branden, you're going to make Manny not want to come back on with us, and it's going to be very, very sad. And I'm going to
Well, I'm kind of worried I'm going to jail now.
He's so mad. He's so mad right now.
You're worried now that you're going to jail? Like,
Well,
the court date is like in a couple hours or whatever it is?
Yeah, well, after Dog the Bounty Hunter just told me to plead no contest, I'd be all right. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then you got Manny saying, might go to jail.
So you were worrying about whose advice to take when going to court, and if you should listen to Manny, the guy that's representing a guy trying to get off for a double homicide, or Dog the Bounty Hunter. And you're like, I'm going with Dog. I'm going with Dog.
Well, Dog, that device seems to work. And I don't have to pay for a lawyer. And like I said, the other lawyer, we were supposed to meet me on court date, I thought. And then like he said, he texted me a couple days ago. He's like, oh, I can't make it, man. I'm going to have trial. You're on your own. Tell this guy.
My defense all lies on the guest the Bailey books for the podcast. I mean, I don't know who he's got coming on, and I just hope they know something about court. Thank God Dog the Bounty Hunter and Manny Arora are on, but sucks that Manny was so soon to my court date. But I mean, like you got to find an attorney, dude. I mean, if not, you're going to be paying some money.
How much money do you think? I mean, they'll probably just take it out of my bail money, right?
Probably about 5,000.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, well, that's cheaper than a lawyer. They just take the $2,500 that I owe in bail, or that I paid for bail, and
yeah, but I think they're going to give you 30 days. That's my personal opinion. I think they're going to give you 30 days in jail because he's going to be like, you don't have an attorney, you don't even care. He's going to look at it like you're just like whatever. And then if I don't know how bad you yanked away, you don't remember like at all trying to get out of the arrest or pulling your arms away? I mean, was it like he said, like a little tug, or were you like, get off me, and getting all crazy? Do you remember?
Well, I didn't get assaulting officer, so it couldn't have been that bad.
Yeah. I think the idea is not to pay anything, though. I mean, that would be kind of my goal, at least, and stay out of jail. But you gave me the question for today's episode on the Spotify app of what's going to happen to Branden after court. Does he go to jail? Does he pay? And I'll leave it open-ended. I won't even give you options. I'll leave you open-ended so you can fill in whatever you think it is. I love these little interaction things on the Spotify app. You guys have some good stuff. And then I publish them again. So again, most of the audience, you guys are listening on the Spotify app. You can see everything that's published. All right. TheBaileyShow.com. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, this is a Freebae episode. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other episodes as we celebrate a milestone of 200, which I don't even think is accurate, but we're saying 200th episode today. This is it. Please subscribe, TheBaileyShow.com, TheBaileyShow.com. All of our social media, is up on thebaileyshow.com at Listen to the BS. Please, on YouTube at The Bailey Show. The newsletter, people are asking, well, because I sent a newsletter out. They're like, well, how do I sign up? thebaileyshow.com. There's a way to sign up. If you want to be a sponsor and join all these other great sponsors that we have, thebaileyshow.com. It's all up there. Please, please, please do that. All right, Chuck, the Iron Fisted one, you got anything before we get out?
I just want to give a public apology to Branden for Jason going against my request and releasing that song without your permission.
Not true, Branden, by the way. You know that's not true, right?
Yeah, how about I'll go to jail?
Yeah. Thank God he's got the jail thing. It takes his mind off. You know what?
Yeah.
Here's what's going to happen. You're going to go in the courtroom, and the judge is going to be, are you the Branden that did Bradley's Cadillac? And you're like, yeah. All right, case dismissed. I love that. My kids love that song. That's such a good song. I love that song. Actually, Bailiff, yeah, hit it. And then there's going to be like this synchronized thing in the courtroom where everybody starts dancing. In a Cadillac, smoking weed and doing crack.
Found a bitch.
People are posting on our social media, just Bradley's in a Cadillac. They just keep posting that. All right, Branden, you got anything before we get out?
I might not be on the podcast for a while, but we'll see. We'll let you know.
Yeah, podcast behind bars. That's good. That'll be first. This is you know what? I'm going to hire a production company. If you go to jail, we'll try to get you to do the show behind bars, like a 30 days in. Netflix loves that shit, so we could probably get you to, actually, I hope you go to jail. That, bring so many subscribers to the podcast. We'd be the first podcast behind bars. That's kind of neat.
Every show could start with, you have a collect call from the Newman County Jail.
Right? Yeah, right. All right. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. Have a great and safe rest, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Till next time, check out thebaileyshow.com. Make sure you like, share, follow on all socials. I leave you with these parting words.
Never got a pink slip either. You know what I would get? A guy would come around to my desk and say, "Get the fuck out of here!"
What do we want to talk about?
Subscribe at thebaileyshow.com.
Yeah, baby.